we called him. Steve talked to him, and he said, "Oh, I can't do it tonight. I can't do it tonight. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow at 6:00." So 6:00 comes the next day, and he's nowhere to be found. He had been sending Esteban messages throughout the day saying, well, "Let's do it on my channel. I don't want to do it on non-state." Blah 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 blah. So we go live. Esteban's here with us. We don't find Kent Hovind, and so we're like, "Why don't we call Kent now and find out where he's at?" Well, Kent calls in and says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never agreed to come on your show." Blah 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 blah. Well, our lovely producer Dave, which shout out to Dave, couldn't do it without him. He had recorded the day before and our conversation with Kent. And we proceeded to play it live to Kent there on the show. And you know what he did? He hung up.
Really?
Yeah. Hung up.
Can't lie? Wait.
Wow.
Wait, stop.
Yeah,
Stop
but
it's
a man of God.
It's different, though. Never, I don't think, it's a different standard when you hear him actively lie to our face and then hear him in his own voice refuting what he just did. And if you can still follow that scumball after that, then there's something wrong with you.
Wow.
Yeah, he did boldface lie. That was just it was unequivocal.
Right.
That's pretty telling.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, people just they don't. I mean, I know he has, probably a steady base of acolytes, but at the same time, people that I've come across tend to just stumble across his videos, right? And like I'm not going to mention names here, but someone I deeply respect who isn't well versed in science, was like, "Hey Adam, what do you think of this?" And he like put the screen in front of my face, and it was Kent Hovind, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, I couldn't like fully impress upon him. Just like I'm like,
Oh, no.
I don't even know where to start. I'm like, okay, well, for one, this guy went to prison, right, for tax evasion or tax fraud. I don't know what it was.
Structuring.
Yeah, I was like,
not tax evasion.
I was like, okay, let's start there. You know what I mean? With this guy, but he's a notorious fraud. So.
Yeah. I don't see how he has no there's no new argument with him or anything like that. He's not interested in changing his ways. You could take his debate. You could take two debates with Kent Hovind in a tape and then cut Kent Hovind out of this one and cut Kent Hovind out of this one and switch them. It'll be the same, except for Aaron. Aaron has the only debate with him where that couldn't happen because Aaron literally asked him one question and held him by his shirt collar at that one question and did not let him move off of that one question.
What was the question?
It was the
Phylogeny challenge.
Yeah, the phylogeny challenge. But it was a question that usually Kent, if it had been anybody else, would have sidestepped, moved into these examples. Dog can't come from non-dog, blah 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 blah. But Arn was, like a maestro at pushing him against that wall, and he's not going to let him down until he gives him and we couldn't get past that.
Yeah, we wanted to know what was the original created kinds. Here's the thing. Look at if the Ark has 6,000 some odd species, right, or kinds on it, and there's 7.8 million extant animals today. Obviously, between that period of time,
somebody fucked up.
There's been evolution going on. There's been speciation going on, right? You don't get 7.8 from 6,000 without some kind of evolution. By the way, hyper.
11 new species a day.
Steve,
literally 10 species a day.
I have to stop you though. This is true. There are people who think that God instructed Noah to take the semen of these animals on the ark and impregnate animals once it dried out. So you're only taking the female.
He let the animals on pairs.
I'm just telling you what. Listen, I'm telling you what.
1.7 of the.
I'm telling you what New Age people have done. They've done research. They found the ark. Most people believe that the ark has been found. It's frozen in ice. That's a true story. Look, there was a documentary team.
Mount Arafat.
There was a documentary team that portrayed this as being the real ark.
Wow.
Like the real fucking ark.
Well, that was on CBS, and that mockumentary. It wasn't even, that no longer is even played because all that stuff was fabricated. The guy, I don't know if you know the story from that, but one of the guys was actually a design artist, and they made him craft a a thing from the Ark, a nail from the Ark, and what he did was use a railroad tie that it had soaked in teriyaki sauce and some other things, and that was the proof that it was a nail from the. And so they don't even play that documentary anymore. That's a true story. Go look it up. The guy that actually did it won an award because it's so realistic.
If God is real, he's looking down, going, "What the fuck are they doing? Teriyaki sauce, really?"
Yeah, I mean. But we got to admit that's pretty brilliant because they said it looked exactly like you would find from some kind of ancient thing, and the guy literally did win a creative award for it.
I wonder if the guy thinks that what he's doing is wrong, or if he thinks that he's sort of the shining knight in armor coming to God's defense, and God really is real.
Good question. Is it okay to lie? Is it okay to lie if it's bringing souls to Christ?
Yeah, that's called pious dishonesty.
Good. It's called bullshit.
Yeah, they say it's a Machiavellian type thing. The ends justify the means, but pious dishonesty is a contradiction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there are many actors of it. I mean, like this kind of feeds into my next question here. It's less of like an intellectual question, but just more of like an opinion. Who's worse, Kent Hovind or Eric Hovind?
Eric. In a lot of ways, Eric.
Technically, Kent, because if you didn't have Kent, you wouldn't have Eric. So
yeah, but Eric, I can almost guarantee Eric. I don't think he buys into any of it. I think Eric.
Yeah, he's a snake oil. At least
totally snake oil.
Yeah, at least we know Kent actually believes this. I think Eric.
He believes it.
And two, Kent, just not to defend Kent Hovind because that's never what I want to do. But when he got out of prison, Eric Hovind literally kicked him out of the house and sold his business out from under him. He wouldn't sign it back over to Kent, and that takes to your own dad.
You know, there's some crap going on there.
Yeah, that takes some shit to do that to your own dad. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah, just kind of quickly plugging Paulogia, just because we were mentioning it earlier. Like he covers Eric so much. Jordan, have you seen Paulogia?
I've seen I'm really not as familiar as I should be. I've seen a few clips of a few of his videos. Yeah.
He's amazing.
They're actually amazing. But whenever he follows, because when he follows guys like Ken Ham strikes me as someone who can't. Okay, yeah, I know. Ham's kind of tough to talk about because the thing is, I think he knows he's being dishonest on some level, but he's not very smart either. Like he's really just not. Like, so if you watch that guy, you're like, yeah, I can at the end of the day see how he actually is very convinced by his own arguments. Mm-hmm. But a guy like Eric, he just comes across so much as a charlatan. You're like, wow, like how does anyone watch this? That he's crazy. Like he's an obvious liar.
Ken Ham's line, which I think is just one of the most dishonest comebacks that I've ever heard in my life. When he gets backed into a corner, he does this. Were you there? Were you there?
Yeah, we've got a book, but we've got a book that tells us the answers. Yeah,
it's so weird because like Saiten is convinced that Eric is a legit guy, and I'm convinced Saiten is legit. He really does believe this stuff, right?
He's the worst too.
I like Sai. Yeah,
I like Sai too.
Oh, you guys like that guy?
Oh yeah. Sai's actually I consider.
I hate his arguments. Don't get me wrong. I hate his arguments, and when he debates, it's annoying, and we've told him that. But as a person, I felt the same way as you did before actually getting to know him. But like he genuinely believes this stuff, and outside of the debate or whatever, he's a pretty nice guy. I mean, he's really nice.
You don't even talk about religious stuff. He's actually cool as hell. But he's changed over the last 10 years. I think he wisened up. He learned that the old Saiten stuff. I mean, he still does precept, but the method that he was back then was very, very much more aggressive than he has now. And I think he's reeled it back a lot. But he does really believe that Eric believes this stuff, and I disagree with him on that. I think Eric's bullshitting him too.
No way.
Okay, so you guys not know Saiten. Okay, so
he's been on several times.
Okay, I talked to him quite often on Twitter. We just kind of kick it.
He's been on the show about 7 times total, I believe. And like Steve said, we'll talk in the. That's where I actually got to know him.
He's on the Discord, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. but he's a hell of a nice guy.
Okay, so you guys think that when he pushes these presuppositionalist, arguments, you think that he thinks these are good arguments?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely convinced of it.
They're horrible arguments, but he genuinely thinks they're good. Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Oh yeah, he's a true blue believer. But I mean, and don't underestimate Cy. Cy knows the topic. He does know how. In fact, what's funny is when Cy actually talks about some philosophy stuff, as far as like justification of stuff, he actually is pretty spot on. And what he'll do is like he had a great discussion with Shannon Q, if you know her, Apologia's girlfriend, one of our favorite people, and they had a great dialogue. They really, honestly did. And you see, if you really listen to that, you can see a change a little bit in Cy's approach. He was really trying to explain to Shannon certain things like Hume's problem of induction and a few other things, and he was spot on correct. He was right? He wasn't trying to manipulate her. He wasn't playing a game of gotcha. He wasn't running a precept script. He was actually wanting to help her. And Shannon recognizes now. We've actually had a discussion the other night with Shannon on this. But if you listen to it, it's a very different type of approach than he takes in somebody where he's trying to run a thing against an atheist where he's just trying to shut them down, because that's what precept is. It literally is to shut down the atheist. As Greg Bahnsen has said, presupposition has one purpose, is to shut the mouth of the atheist. That's what it's for. It's not an argument.
And it don't work.
It's not an argument. Yeah, literally, it's not an argument.
When he says that he worries for your soul, like when he tells you that, when he says that, I'm praying for you, and he genuinely 100% believes that, because I've had some pretty deep conversations with him, and I'm convinced that he genuinely believes that what he's doing is to benefit other people. They may be annoying arguments. I've told him this as much that I think, I'll even pick with him. Like he'll say something, totally unrelated to debating or whatever. And I always follow it up with, could you be wrong about that, Cy? Which is his like tagline, could you be wrong about that? But yeah, he's genuinely, I think, a decent guy. He's not the image that I have of him before meeting him. I think that happens often. You might get, SJ's another one. She has quite the
she's a character.
Yeah.
But for example, look at slide 10. Look at something like Darwin's deity, right? Darwin deity is a preceptor too. Darwin deity is is pretty much base level as you get. He's one of the most.
He's the worst human being on the planet.
Do you guys know have you guys heard that name before? Darwin?
I have not actually.
Okay.
No.
I'm not going to go a lot of detail on him. I tell you this: he has a whole channel on YouTube against him of all his fuckery, all his mistakes, all the time he actually argued this. You guys are a philosophical channel, so you guys will probably know that he actually argued that affirming the consequent was a rule of inference that was logically valid, right? He actually argued that a fallacy was valid. This tells you his
Please watch him. If you do anything before, please watch Darwin's deity. You will get so. I have broken my computer so many times listening to that.
Adam loves that. He's such a masochist.
I am a masochist. I love just getting angry, but it's like such a terrible character trait. I listen to these.
Darth Dawkins is your guy. Darth Dawkins is your guy.
Darwin's deity, Darth Dawkins, Evolution False, Dancing with Hyenas, Duncan Dawkins,
Duncan Darwin.
But his narrative is not to educate people. His aim is to give a game of gotcha, right? He wants to expose you for being a philosophically naive white belt kind of person.
Okay.
Which, by the way,
sophistry.
I cream him.
He doesn't even believe in God.
No, he believes in God.
No, he doesn't. Not that whole thing with that whoever doxed him or whatever was able to somehow show that he does not. He's just doing this for fun. He's doing this to troll.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. And I know who did that. But anyways, long story short, Darwin's docket, to tell you how duplicable Darth Dawkins is one time he actually went, and this actually feeds into Kyle what he said about trolling. He actually went into a Minecraft hangout of kids playing Minecraft, right? Kids like 9 and 12-year-old kids, to explain to them the laws of logic and presupposition. And it got so bad that one of the kids actually said something along the lines of, "Dude, go fuck off and eat raw spaghetti." That's what he said. Like,
I have so many questions about that insult.
It was like, okay.
What is that?
But who? That was it. Who